Okay, everyone. So I am on my homepage now. You can access your homepage through yearbookavenue.jostens.com. And then I'm going to go over the new page designer or the Layout Pro, which is under the Create tab. Now, this is where you're going to do the majority of your designing of your yearbook pages. I have recorded several webinars in the past. One of them is a full-length demonstration of this new page designer. So I can send that out to you as well when I send the recording of this webinar. That full-length one might cover a few more features, as some advanced features in it. I've also recorded a webinar on portraits specifically, and that is like portrait flowing and just how to process portrait images. So I can send that one out as well. So I'm in Layout Pro, Create Layout Pro, and just by default here, we see our page has grids on it. By default, we're looking at a dual page spread, which is just 2 pages, unless we're on the first page here, which is just 1. So we'll look in my grids. I'll zoom in a little bit so we can see what those grids look like. The grids are broken up into 2 different sizes. We have our squares here. These are 1/2 inches each, and then these rectangles, which are 2 picas each. You can also use the rulers on the left-hand side and the upper, so in the top right here, to kind of proportion things on your pages. The main reasoning for these grids is to proportion your elements with each other. You can kind of align shapes, text, images really nicely with these grid lines. And if you want to learn more about how you can utilize these grids, you could Google search Swiss grid, and you'll come up with all sorts of different designs. Zoom back to my default view. Also by default, you'll notice these blue lines around the pages, and this kind of tells you where you can create your yearbook pages and where you don't want to put things. So this area outside, this blue line is called the bleed. Anything that is outside this area will be bled to the edge of your page. So it is possible to enable, you can move things out here, but just know it will be spread to the edge of your page. Also, same with between the pages here. There's just some of this area where nothing's going to be able to appear. This is kind of in the crease between pages. So you don't really want to put something here. If you have an image spanning between your 2 pages, if there's something very important right in the middle, you might want to break the image into 2 pieces. You can split pages, that's fine. Just note that there's something really important in the center, it's going to get cut out. It'll be kind of stuck in the margins between pages. So with these grid lines, you can turn them off and on as you see fit. By default, they're on. You can turn them off with this button down here, kind of give you a better, just cleaner look of your pages. With these ruler lines, there's some alignment things you can do. You can just look at them, they're inches here. I can drag over ruler lines from this page, and this kind of allows me to align things. If I was to have a couple shapes on my page here, I could use these to align them, and I'll do that in practice here soon when I go to align my page. If you don't want them anymore, you can just drag them right off. Okay, so I'm going to get started just creating a page. So first tab here is pages. This is where you can just browse through your pages. I'll just stick to a blank page. Next we have the designs tab, and this is where you're going to find the majority of your templates, and this is templates that we've provided for you or templates that you've created yourself. So you can use this drop-down menu here to look through the theme templates or this custom category. This is the one where you'll find your templates, whether they're templates from last year or ones you've currently created. And you can go down through all these different sections here. They're based on different yearbook themes we offer. We have modular templates just based on colors. Candid templates. I think I'm going to be using them in my demonstration here. Portrait templates as well as a template exchange, which is kind of community templates. So I'm just going to use some of the ones under Page Surfer here. I'm going to use some Candid templates. I'm going to browse through. If you find something you like, you can just drag and drop it over to the page. If you change your mind on it, you can just replace it with something else. They're broke up into spreads like this, but you can drag either side to either page, so that is totally up to you. Just use this one here. Actually, I'll use this one, I think. If you know of a template design that you like, if you used in the past, if you know the number for it, you can search for the design number as well up here in the search bar. So these templates are a great way to start your yearbook. I'd say they save a bunch of time. You can also import your own, like I mentioned. There's also something called Click and Go under this designs category. Click and Go right here. And what Click and Go is a portion of a template instead of a full template. So like a headline, for example. If I wanted to just drag over a piece like as a headline, maybe see a sidebar, Click and Go. All sorts of options here. It's definitely worth just checking out some of these pieces of templates in Click and Go. You can save your own template by just putting something on the page. So maybe here, maybe I made some changes. I updated my title. I changed some colors, added my photos. At this point, I could save this as a new template, and you can just do that from the file and then save as template. We can choose our page here. I would do left, test template. You can also save Click and Go as well, like these things I brought over here. So maybe I wanted my title here and the background behind it to be one piece of Click and Go. I would select it all so that everything's selected. I'll know it's selected when I can move it around. Redo my selection a little bit. That's fine, actually. So now that I have a couple of things selected, I can save this as a piece of Click and Go to use later. And what I would do is File and Save in Click and Go. So that would just save this part of the template. When you have Click and Go on your pages, you'd want to ungroup them. You might notice that these are still grouped together. If I wanted to edit this, I would go to this lock and then unlock here. Okay, so I'm just gonna, now that I have my template kind of put on my pages, there's some other edits I want to do. Maybe I want to add my images in, maybe add some shapes, change the colors, add backgrounds. I'll do all that. The next tab on the list here is images. And these are images located in your image library. You can look through the image library folders you've created. If there's more images you'd like to upload, you can select the folder and then upload additional images right in. I have a couple images in this folder. So now that I have them, I can just drag and drop them right to my page. Let's try to find one that fits. There we go. Notice when I was dragging this over, some of these boxes are turning red like this. That's telling me that this image is not large enough to fit into these bigger boxes. Not large, that one will fit. Let's see if I can find one that'll fit. Looks like my images are on the smaller side. So once I have my images on the page, there's a bunch of things I can do with my images. I can crop them by clicking on an image here, and this opens the cropping menu. And this allows me to kind of adjust my photo, just change what's visible inside the photo frame. It's pretty useful if there's some things out of focus you don't want to show, or just change the focus of the photo box. You can also do edits to your images. If you click an image, you'll notice that this menu appears up here. This is what we call the contextual menu. This only shows up in context of whatever you've clicked on. So when I click on this image here, this is in context of my image. If I was to click on this piece of text right here, this text box, now I'll see I have my text box options. So from with an image clicked, I have a bunch of things I could do. I could add a stroke to the image. There's already one on here. I could change the color of the stroke. I could add some formatting to the image, maybe some corner rounding, some transparency, any kind of drop shadow or glow. I could also do some text wrapping. This would be if I had some text surrounded my image. It would just wrap the image behind the text, or however I wanted to do it. So that is available under this formatting and effects dropdown. We also have another access to the crop menu. I could just single click my image and then click on this crop option. Brings me back up to the crop menu. We also have our snap edit here. And this is kind of the most advanced image editing tool we have. And in this snap edit, this is similar to almost Instagram filters, or a little bit like Photoshop. So you can enable different filters. You can adjust the levels. All different options in here. We have colorize. You could add a color filter to your image. Something like that. All different options you can play around with. If I decide I want to make some of these changes, I could hit the save button, save a new copy of my image, or I could hit the reset button or cancel to get out of here. I can also rotate my image from here. Another nice tool of this snap edit menu is the mask tab. And what this mask tab is the background eraser tool. And one nice thing about this is I can just cut out my background around an image. Maybe I just didn't want it to appear on the page. You'll notice some of it's not being cut out. This is because I'm on the smart eraser tool. And this smart eraser is really useful for like hair, cutting around like a student's hair or something like that, so it doesn't cut out pieces that you need. But if I wanted to cut out everything, I could use just the regular old eraser tool, and this will remove everything. So I'll just cut out a little bit of the background here and show you what that will look like. So I'm going to make a mistake here. Oh, I just accidentally cut out the leg of this sheep here. If I want to undo that, I can use this uneraser tool. Get my leg back. Also adjust the size, the tolerance, things like that as well. So I'll just do a little more editing here and save this. Show you what it looks like. Oh. You can also use the back button as well if you make a mistake. Okay, that's good enough. I have some background cut out. I'm going to save that image. Now we'll see here on my page that the background's been cut out, at least part of it. So any questions what I've went over so far? I'm still going to go over some text editing and some mass updates as well as adding a background. But if you do have any questions, please let me know. So that about covers it for image editing. There is some also alignment options we have in this contextual menu. Up here in the arrangements, if we want to layer some things over top of each other, you could do that. This is really useful for shapes, things like that. You can also do some rotating here. If I select multiple images, and I would do that by selecting one and then holding the shift button, and I can select multiple like this. I can use these arrange options to distribute my images or align them. So I can align them vertically, align at the bottom, all sort of things like that. If I decide I don't like what I'm doing there, I can just use the back button up here, or what I like to do personally, I like to use the Control-Z keyboard shortcut, and that undoes your changes as well. So with these images, there's one nice tool that allows you to manipulate images on the page really easily. And this is called image swap. What image swap is you would select one of your images you have on your page, hold the Control key on your keyboard, and it'll allow you to swap this image into any of the available image boxes on your page. As long as it fits in. We'll notice that some of these boxes are red. That means that my image is too small to fit in there. You can also swap it with existing photos. So if I wanted to just rotate between some of these images, I could just easily do that on my page if I decide I want them in different spots. Next, we have the Art tab on the left-hand side. And this is where you're going to add the main portion of your kind of shapes, your clip art, your image boxes. Here I could add image frames in different sizes and shapes for more photos on my page. I could either drag and drop a bunch to the page, or I could click one and then use this duplicate button up here and just keep duplicating them to add more. This works really well if you select multiple things at once. So let's get some shape boxes here. I can show you what I mean. So I'll get some circle shape boxes, duplicate it a couple times. Now, if I want to copy this shape altogether, I could select it all and I could duplicate it again. And I could kind of use that to like manipulate my elements on my page, do some quick designing. So we have image boxes and then shape boxes, a bunch of different types of shape. These shape boxes, you can change the color, add formatting like transparency, drop shadow, add a stroke, similar to what you can do with the photos as well as text boxes. We also have in here the clip art menu. Clip art is broken up into many different categories here. We have our borders, headlines, illustrations. Illustrations is the main portion here with different themes. Studio, also more themes. Now, if you're looking for a specific piece of clip art, one nice way to do that would be using the search box up here. So maybe you have like a theme that's like Christmas or, summertime. Maybe I want to look for a flower. I could search the flower and get all sorts of flower clip art. Maybe I want like a color. If I'm doing a color theme, maybe red. I could find everything that's red or blue. So that's just a nice way to add clip art to your pages. From this art tab, we also have the background section. This is where you can just drag and drop any of our existing backgrounds to your pages. So if I liked one of these backgrounds here, I could just drag and drop it right over and it'll fill behind my page as the background. Make sure you don't drag it into one of these boxes, but you put it actually as the background. So this is the only section where you can drag and drop images as the background. But if you have your own images you want to use, or maybe you want to use one of our pieces of clip art that isn't in this background section, how you can do that is by right-clicking on the page and then choosing Change Background. And this is how, so right here, I have an image already selected. I'll just remove it. I'll remove my background quickly. So I could add a solid color background from here. Maybe I just wanted one color as a background. I could add a little tint to it. Remove it. Also choose images from any of the folders like I mentioned. So I could browse around these border clip art sections to find some borders to use. Notice a lot of these are they have this red box around it. This is telling me that these images are not large enough to be put as a background. But no, these ones could be. See how I could select it. I could also choose my right page to change the background as well. So that's how you could change your background on your page. The next tab we have is the text tab. This is where you're going to find your styles and your text boxes. So over here is what's called styles, and there's already some pre-built for you. I've created most of these. So what these are, these allow you to quickly drag and drop a piece of text to your page that's already a certain style. So like I can already see what this is going to look like over here. So if I knew I was going to be using the same font quite a bit, I could have a style for it. You might be asking me, how do I add these styles? Well, first you make sure you save your changes, and then you can go to this add or remove styles page here, or you can go to the plan and then styles page. And this will allow you to edit your existing styles or create a new one. So I'll just add a new style quickly. We'll do body text 4. Choose my category, choose my font. Over here, it's going to give me a preview of my font. Right now, you might notice there's not too many fonts in this list. That's because these are only the fonts that I've added to my yearbook. If I wanted to choose from all the available fonts, I could do that from this Manage Fonts menu and add more to my book, or I could do that from the Plan and then Fonts page as well. It'll take me to the same menu. So I'm going to adjust my size here, make this one a little bigger. I can also adjust my attribute. This is like italic, bold, things like that. And I'll save my new style I just created, body text 4. So now we see it, body text 4. I can drag it over. So these just kind of help you make it a little easier to already pre-edit your text. But if you're going to use different fonts, like maybe you have a wide variety you're using, you can easily change the font once you've already put the text on the page. Just use the font drop down. Again, these are only the fonts that I've already added to my book. If I wanted to add more fonts, I could use this button or go to the fonts page. Also adjust the font by doing a bunch of stuff up here. This is in the contextual menu. I can adjust my size. sure it fits. I could adjust my color. I could add a stroke around my font. I could make it italics, underline, change the case. I could make it uppercase. We also have spacing options and alignment options. This is within the text box. I could center align it. The spacing options, if I have multiple lines of text, I could adjust my spacing, as well as add things like transparency, drop shadow, pretty much everything you can do with the text box. You can do with the shape box as well, image box. All right, so now I've covered pretty much the main features of how you can add different things to your yearbook pages. Any questions on what I've went over so far? Feel free to ask me in person or just ask in the chat area. I will show a couple more design tools that I like to use, but that pretty much covers it for the main features. Okay, no questions yet, but if you have any later, feel free to ask me at the end of this webinar or just email me. You can email me at support@schoolannual.com or support@jostens.com. So I'm going to go over a couple things that I like to use. One of them I mentioned earlier is this layer functionality. This is really, it's under here in layering. I'll just show you what that would look like. So my green circle here, I can bring it forward. So layering is a really nice tool for kind of designing things. You can incorporate that with a cutout background as well, do some really nice kind of designs here. Another new feature for designing is in the arrange menu, or rather, sorry, the edit menu, and then the select feature. The select feature will allow you to do like bulk editing of your pages at once. So for example, if I wanted to edit all of my images or all of my shape boxes or text boxes, I could do that. So maybe all of my images, I wanted to add a stroke around. Maybe make it a little big. So now all my images have a stroke around them. Another nice thing you can do from this select menu is update colors. So you might notice here this template that I brought over, it is purple. Maybe I wanted my theme to be orange or something like that. I could do this select all color, and I could do, maybe I want to update the fill color. I want to update this purple fill color to be my new orange color. I could also update the stroke. So notice I have a purple stroke around some of these boxes and a black stroke. I could update that color to be my new orange color. There we go. See how quick that was to update all those things? And that is, again, that is the edit and then the select. You can do that with all sorts of options here. You might also notice this edit has another place that you can do the change background. We also have some find and replace options if you wanted to use that, as well as spelling. This arrange menu is also really useful. This is really similar to the contextual menu over here. These arrange options. This is just another section that you can kind of use those options. Another nice feature for yearbook pages, I already mentioned we can turn off our grid lines from over here. Well, there's some other things we can do from over here as well. One of them is our pasteboard option. So what this pasteboard is it allows us to put things that we might use on our yearbook, but we're not sure yet. So I'm going to grab some clip art. Make sure it's visible. So grab some clip art and put it out here outside of my pages. This stuff won't be printed or anything like that. It's just kind of a scrapboard for you to use in designing your yearbook. So maybe I'm kind of debating on whether I'm going to use any of these things. I could have them out here or I could hide them. Make it look a little cleaner. Another option from this lower right menu here, this is where we can view our comments. And this would be useful if you're working on your yearbook with multiple people, or maybe even just yourself if you want to remind yourself to do something. Maybe just like add backgrounds, add a comment. it'll show up, it'll look at this little bubble right here. You can also add a comment from this button up here as well. So these comments, you can reply to them. I could say, done, I've added my background. And then I could click this resolve button. It'll mark it as resolved to say that my comment has been completed. It'll show up over here with a little check mark. If I wanted to delete this comment entirely, I can do that as well. Another really useful tool in this menu here, it's the comments menu and also the pre-flight menu. So right now I'm looking at comments. If I click this second tab over here, this brings me to the pre-flight menu. And this is kind of your proofing menu. You'll definitely want to do this before you go to submit your pages. There's all your proofing options you'll need here. First, we have our spell check. There's also other places you can access it, like up here. So we could run our spell check. If there's anything, I don't really have too much text on here besides this filler stuff. We can also proof our pages from here, which will generate a PDF proof of your pages, just to kind of give you an idea how it's going to look with the trim lines and just on the actual printed yearbook. You could then save this to your computer, print it out, send it to whomever you'd like. Also on this pre-flight menu, we'll notice all these different errors I'm receiving. These are the things that you'll need to resolve before you can submit your pages. I have a bunch of them on this page because this is a template I pulled over and I don't have all my images in there and whatnot. But if I wanted to find and resolve some of these issues, I could just click on it and we'll notice it pops up with this yellow highlighted outline. Makes it really easy to find and resolve issues. So I'm just going to resolve one of these issues here. Maybe this box down here. I'm going to add a photo to it. Tell me it's a duplicate image, but that's okay. Okay, so I've added a new photo. I'm going to refresh my errors. Now it just went from 11 to 10 because I just added some text or added my image. Let's see, I can do it another one. So this body text right here, I haven't edited it all. I just drag it over. So I'll go ahead and some edits to it. Refresh my errors. Notice it went away. And I can look at these for both pages as well. Page 19 is right here. And once I've resolved all these issues, I can actually mark my pages as complete right from this pre-flight menu. One last thing I'll cover, and then I'll be open to questions, is the history tab down here. The history tab is a great way to kind of revert changes to a previous version. So we'll notice my page here has a couple of versions, and the one I just saved. If maybe I didn't like some of the changes I did, I could drag and drop one of my old versions right back over. Maybe I didn't like anything I did, I could just drag and drop the oldest version, which is just a plain old white page. Restart from scratch. All right, any questions on any of this stuff? Okay, well, I don't see much. If you have questions later down the line, feel free to email your rep or email me at support@jostens.com with any of these questions. I'm going to be sending out a recording of this webinar tomorrow morning, and I'll also link you to some of the other webinars I've done, like the portrait webinar and the full-length new page designer webinar. So thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.